Hello, everyone. Welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. Christmas is over for you guys. I'm recording this right before. We are going to ask the question today: should you be opening for Selene? We're also going to take a look at Iron Lad and Black Knight, everything you need to know about those two Spotlight cash cards, and you can make an informed decision about what you're opening, including what the variants are, including the very best decks for all these cards. Before we get started, though, I'm going to invite you to hit that sub button. It's right after Christmas. Be a wonderful gift if you hit that sub button for me, ring that notification bell. We bring you at least 3 brand new decks every single weekday, and also on Sundays, we have Marvel Snap Pro Tips, we have bundle guides, we have turn by turn guides, everything you need to take your Marvel Snap game to the next level. Make sure you hit that sub button so you don't miss out. Also, tomorrow's video begins the giveaway. We do the biggest giveaway in all of Marvel Snap, 15 season passes every single season. That kicks off tomorrow's video. Ring that bell, don't miss it. We also maintain this giveaway sheet. Our friend Banshee helps us maintain it. It's every giveaway active currently in Marvel Snap. You can find some great content and find some great content creators that way. We all good? Before we get to the new card, we're going to take, as we always do, our questions of the day. Sometimes it's 1, sometimes it's 3. Today, it's 2. So our questions of the day. First, Inner Chimp wants to know what characters I'd most like to see be cards in Snap. And I picked characters from runs of comics I really like. So I picked Amadeus Cho because I really love Mighty Hercules. Hercules would have been the pick, but he comes out in about 3 weeks, I believe. So I want Amadeus Cho. I don't really want Hulk Cho. I want plain Cho, but I'm sure they would give us the Hulk version. So fine. I'd like Wiccan, because that I believe it was Young Avengers run. Yeah, it was Young, not new. That Young Avengers run is one of my favorites ever. The second one, not the very first one that had Iron Lad in it. The second one, the Kieran Gillen one. I'd also like Kid Loki, but that feels real unlikely. I'm a giant New Mutants and X Force fan. I know that those books get a bad rap, but I personally really love them. So I'd love it if Cannonball was a card. In a video like a couple weeks ago, I did my review of what I'd like that to be. I'd like to see Machine Man. We always want our fellow Aarons in the game, and Machine Man is from Next Wave, a book I super duper love. And I couldn't resist having a second X-Men character, Cypher, but like the Krakoan era Cypher would be great. So would Warlock, but I'd really love to see Cypher and figure out what that means for the game, like another information style card. Our friend Venom is curious if we are due another roadmap soon, and yup, we're due a roadmap soon. So I would assume we're going to see that early January. We know our next patch is 1.9. I would guess sometime around then, maybe as soon as they get back to the office, that roadmap pops up. We're just due it, and it feels like a good way to get people excited going into the new year. If you'd like to have your questions read out in tomorrow's video, please do me a favor and leave one in the comments. All right, this is Selene. Selene is our spotlight card for this Boxer Day, I believe. Boxing Day. I never remember that. Oh well. Selene is our new card for that day. She is a 1/1, Series 5, 6,000 tokens. On reveal, afflict the lowest power card in each player's hand with -3 power. So, that's really strong, except that the opponent cannot play that card, right? But hey, if you're basically using her as Spider Ham, taking a card out of the opponent's hand, that's really strong, right? Like an Iron Man, that's -6, that's super strong. Playing her with Black Widow, which is probably the one of the major reasons Widow got that cost increase, is super strong because forcing the opponent to play -4 on their side and not draw a card is going to be really strong. She has obvious synergy with cards like Annihilus or Viper to be able to be shunted over to the other side of the board so you're not stuck with her -1 power. She's going to be at least reasonable in things like Annihilus and Bounce. I'm not completely sold on her. Honestly, I think she was a little bit busted with previous Widow. I'm not sure how great she is with the modern Widow on turn 4, though I know she was going to be silly on turn 3 with the other Widow. There is only one non-spotlight variant for her. It'll be coming out tomorrow. It is Segovia's Super Rare. This is it. I'm pretty sure I'm buying it. I like it better than the base art, although they're, I guess, fairly similar. I like it better than the base art, and I'm perfectly happy to have it. Plus, there's only like 4 cards in Snap, and once I open for that Black Knight, there'll only be like 3 cards in all of Snap I don't have variants for, so pretty excited for that. All right, The other spotlights, I mean, I guess I won't be buying this if I happen to open the spotlight because I'm opening spotlights for both Selene and for that Black Knight dupe. If it takes me 3 to get the Black Knight and the Selene, then I might as well just open the 1 or 2 extra. I have like 25 spotlight cash to save. I might as well open the 1 or 2 extra and save my gold and just get this Selene. I don't have a strong preference for which of the two I like better. I may like, so I like the all black of the other one, but the pop of red is pretty damn nice for this one too. Um, this Iron Lad is fine, but I have a hip, so I don't care about it. And I am opening for this Black Knight. Again, I've wanted a Black Knight variant for a long time. The Max Greek is the only one in the game besides the other Spotlight, and I didn't really like either of those, so I'm gonna go get this one in hopes that the Peach Momoko and hip don't come out immediately after and make me feel dumb. All right, we've got synergies to look at first. This is obviously a junk deck card. I don't think this goes in 1,000 different decks, although we're gonna look at as many different decks as I could put together. The best card with her, including I think Annihilus, is Widow. So I think those are like the two keys, but Widow and Annihilus are like really the big two. So she's probably good at Annihilus bounce, but that's right now a 3-card package. Like it's the bounce deck, and Annihilus's package is, excuse me, Annihilus's package is Sentry and Hood. Is she good enough to be the 3rd card in that package? We're gonna find out. She might be good in Evo. Evo likes afflict strategies. If they play that card, it's afflicted. It's pretty good. But they can just like not play the card. Um, it does not reveal which cards for each player are afflicted. This is not the Spider-Man effect. This is more the Iceman effect, so that's worth knowing. And her like cards that counter her really hardcore are Luke Cage, because then they could just play it in that lane and not lose the power. Bast, which shoots the card right back up to 3. Shadow King, which will return to base power. Junk Mirrors to bounce that crap back and forth. Dracula for the end of the game, just it goes back to whatever power it discards, and Taskmaster, which is going to just copy the power. We're going to feature decks with a few of these. Remember, if you have interest in more, come find us on the Marvel Snapzone Discord or the podcast chat with the host section. We will build you decks there. Just, come on. I've got one deck on the back burner that I have to build, one person I need to build decks for. If you are watching, just know that I am getting to you. The holiday season has been insane, but it's still coming. Don't doubt it at all. All right. The first deck we're going to look at is from our friend Docty, former Dr. Artillery. Docty has made a Selene junk. We're going to look at quite a few versions. I like this one. I'm not 1,000% sure Daredevil doesn't want to be Ravonna, because Ravonna has really nice synergy with the goblins. But this deck's job is to basically fill your opponent's lanes, right? It's saying this is the type of all-in junk deck that we thought we were gonna get with Annihilus. Maybe Selene is the extra tech card we need to really, really make it work. I fully plan to try this deck, see if it works. This is gonna be one of the first things I do. It wouldn't shock me if it's kind of mediocre now, the day Selene comes out, and then a week later it ends up really good. Next up, we have Junk Team. This is one I put together myself. Told you I wanted Ravonna, so I added Ravonna. My working theory here is if I don't see Annihilus, I should still be able to win here. I'd like to be able to go Ravonna into Professor X on 4. I could also go Ravonna and then get spend my turn 4 going with either Black Widow and Hood or Black Widow and Selene, and then spend my turn 5 with Professor X and Havoc. And as long as I had Ravonna out, that seems like a really strong play, and then I should be able to win with Annihilus to end the game, or win with Ms. Marvel or whatever other nonsense I'd like to. And that seems really strong in and of itself, too. We could also just do the full I fill your board with crap thing with debris. There's a lot of ways to win. I like Goose in this kind of deck, but I feel like Shadow King's probably too good. Take your pick. Next up, we have the first Selene bounce that I'm going to try. I like Carnage and bounce. I used to play Carnage and a lot of bounce back in the day. I mean, I guess it wasn't pure bounce, right? But there was that bounce deck. I can't remember the creator's name. I'm so sorry. But there was that bounce deck that was doing like a bounce slash double She-Hulk thing way back in the day, back in the Snap Fan tournament days that came in like second at one. That was running Carnage as a way to have space. Carnage is just an extra way to clean up your Selenes and Hoods if you're not going to play Annihilus. And you're sorry, Voids. And besides that, you should be able to get a reasonable number of wins just by junking and messing your opponents up. Selene hitting one of their cards, Spider-Ham hitting another of their cards, Iceman making things expensive, bouncing all that, Widow's Bites, and all that, powering Werewolves and Sentry. Seems good. It's also reasonably likely that you can fill the right lane and just play Sentry with this kind of deck, and that seems really strong too. I think this is probably going to be decent. I don't know if it's going to be completely nuts, but it seems like it's at least going to be decent. Honestly, my problem with this deck right now is it feels like it's got a really, really great shot at winning one lane, but it might have trouble with that second. Although it will be marvelously frustrating for your opponents to play against. This is another version of Selene Bounce. Same issue as the first. This one runs Goblin instead of Widow, and Hawkeye for a bit of extra power instead of Iceman. Nope. Instead of something. Whatever. Instead of something. One of the two drops. Instead of Carnage. There we go. And then it's just saying, okay, so if I can do the whole thing, again, like these decks' problem, I think, is that they're really, really, really reliant on Nihilus and Werewolf. If you do see those two cards, though, it's going to be really hard to beat this. If they do play the card, also, like, the problem, I think, with this deck is you don't really want to play Selene twice a lot of the time. You're going to Falcon or Beast it, and then you're just going to keep giving -1 to the same one of their cards and the same one of your cards, and that's not ideal unless you can guaranteed get a Nihilus off. If you can guaranteed get a Nihilus off, that's pretty good. If you can't, then it's very mediocre. So here's an Alioth build. This was not mine. This was from the Marvel Snap Zone Discord, created December 17th. The Marvel Snap Zone deck builder. This is fairly similar. This one ignores the bounce and says instead of bounce, I'm just going to try and move the Alioth. You don't go Havoc and Alioth in the same game unless you're pulling off the turn 4 with Ravonna Havoc Viper thing, which is like perfectly fine. You should win a reasonable number of those games just by being able to play an Annihilus at that point, as they don't have enough energy to really stop you. At that point, like, you're again chunking everything up, and if you don't play the Havoc thing, then you have an Alioth to win you the game, assuming you can junk one of those other lanes up, and with this one, you especially should. This is our standard good cards list. This is our friend Den's. Den is the head writer at Marvel Snap Zone. Senior writer? I believe senior writer would be the proper terminology here. This one is literally just saying I run the good cards, and at the top end of the good cards, I have a Nihilus. Like, I have the little Nihilus package, and then I have the Darkhawk package, and that's pretty good. I'm telling you, seriously, I'm a little nervous about Iron Lad in this. Iron Lad hitting Sentry is not ideal. Iron Lad hitting Selene when you're not ready is not ideal. Selene with Darkhawk is a little bit worrisome. So this one might not be great, but it's like everything needs to be tried in the good stuff package because the good stuff package is just so strong. Cool. Next up, we have a Disruption. I think this one is fairly likely to be better, although you do run the same problem with Selene and Darkhawk. You can get Darkhawk out on 3, though, reasonably often here, thanks to Ravonna. Ravonna's just so good. You've got Carnage to clean up your junk here. I think this one is likely better than the other. But your opponent should not have a ton of space to play. They'll have space, right? Like, it's not going all in like the previous Den deck. So this should be probably a little bit better. And again, you can Carnage away any junk, any nonsense you need to that you can't Annihilus off, which I think is fairly important for these decks. I'd like one backup plan for Annihilus. I don't want two, but I almost always want one. This one's mine. All right. Then we've got Havoc and Annihilation. This is another one I grabbed from Marvel Snap Zone. This seems pretty good, right? I really like the Shuri thing here, because I can Shuri Hobgoblin and basically guarantee myself a lane. I can Shuri Sentry, I can Shuri Annihilus. All of those plays are really strong. If I've got Ravonna, Shuri is 3, and that Shuri Sentry 3/4 is really strong. That leaves me like a very powerful Annihilus, a 20 power Sentry. I just feel like I win that matchup unless they can Shang me. That also leaves me plenty of energy for like a Havoc extra for some extra power to win. I think this one is really great too. This is another of the first one I'm going to try. I also really, really like Beast here because I can just say, oh, wait, I can't get rid of my Hood / Selene / Void. Oh, well, I'll take it back. Thank you. And I appreciate that as well. I think this is likely the best deck we've looked at so far, at least the most versatile, the one that gets least in its own way. Galactus ramp, I feel like Junk and Galactus are just good, so we try them together. This isn't the best deck, but it is a surprise deck that always has a higher win rate than you would think. Ravonna, again, here is extra because cheaper goblins are good when you don't get your Electro Wave thing off. You don't get your Electro Wave thing off, that's fine. You can still win with your goblins and Annihilus game plan, and that's fundamentally where Selene comes in. If you have a -6 green goblin or -11 hobgoblin, excuse me, that's even harder for your opponent to deal with. There is some worry about hitting Professor X here, but you have Hood, Hobgoblin, and Green Goblin to hit over X, and that turn 4 Professor X is still so freaking strong, especially if you spent turn 3 playing a Goblin. All right, next up we have a Selene evolutionary deck. This is basically our standard evolutionary deck with Leech and everything else, except it runs Selene too. Selene can be bad for Sunspot, I'm aware, but your basic idea here is just kind of not use Selene willy-nilly. You want to play her with Black Widow. That's kind of it. You play her with Black Widow and you're fine. You can stick an Nihilus in this over the thing. I don't really care. That's fine. That's not really what this deck is for. It's not trying to junk them up and send stuff over. It's more just trying to using her almost as like a Spider Ham, where if they play the card, you get a cheaper Abomination for it. All right. So she's got a lot of synergy with Annihilus and Widow, but Widow was nerfed last week or the week before. Time is again lost all meaning. It's winter break now. But she was better with Widow when Widow was a 2-1 than she is with Widow as a 3-3, because playing her on 3 is much better than playing her on 4. Is she good enough to be the 4th card in the Annihilus package? My current guess is no. I think that the decks that run that package don't really want her messing up their cheapest thing. Although, like, it is pretty funny if you can make that cheapest thing Shuri, and you get a -2 Shuri, and then you get a 14 power Annihilus and send them a -2. Not bad, right? Like, there's options. They're not amazing, but there's options. Does bounce exist at the level it needs to with both Wolf and Widow nerfed? Um, I don't really think so, but again, I could be wrong if she's giving you enough negatives. Like, the problem is from bouncing her, you're going to keep giving the same card negative. They'll have like a -12, I don't know, Iceman in their hand, right? But like, who cares? They're just never going to play that card. They have no reason to. So I think this is a wait and see card that I'm trending downward on. I don't think this is going to see a lot of play. How freaking ever you want the spotlight caches. Blade is a card that gives you access to brand new decks from owning it, right? Series 3. If you have Blade, you have decks. As long as you have, I guess, Ghost Rider or Hela, you've got some decks once you have Blade. Because you already have Black Knight, you already have Lady Sif. And that's kind of all you need to make Black Knight really good. So, Black Knight is Series 5, 6,000 tokens, a 1-2. After you discard a card, add the Ebony Blade to your hand with that card's power once per game. Well, the Ebony Blade is a 4, whatever that card's power was, can't be destroyed, and its power can't be reduced. So it's very easy to hit something like Infinite with that, or something like Giganto, and just have a huge, can't be reduced, can't be destroyed version of that. You can play that a lot of different ways. Again, it gives you access to a massive amount of very, very strong decks. I personally hit Infinite with it this season. I can vouch for the power of the Ebony Blade and urge you again to get this card if you can. All right, this is the best version of the deck I found right now. It is Blob Knight. Um, it's really, really great. Fundamentally, you use Blade and Lady Sif to try and chuck Magneto or Infinite. Infinite's obviously better to chuck. Zabu makes your shard cost 3, which means you can play with Shang or Ghost Rider and get massive power back. You have to be a little bit careful of Blob with that Lady Sif, but like worst case, you hit that Blob, right? Like the world's not going to end. You can still Ghost Rider back for a massive power turn. Crossbones is excellent in this deck with Ms. Marvel in the deck. That you like sometimes you don't see the discard stuff. You go Zabu, Ms. Marvel, Crossbones, and you still have a massive amount of power. At that point, Legion and Blob do a reasonable job of winning you the damn game, but you can still like even late because now it's turn 5, right? So turn 5 you can still drop Black Knight, Lady Sif, and have an amazing turn 6. There's just a lot of ways to win. Again, I think this is the best current Black Knight build. Um, the only other high series card here that matters is Ms. Marvel, because Legion could easily be Vision. So, like, if you have Ms. Marvel, like, congrats. You I guess Blob is high series, right? But you don't even need Blob for this, right? There's versions of this that just don't run Blob. They run 614. They run Giganto. So just enjoy your wonderful options of dominating with this deck. Here's the Shuri version. This again has a wonderful, wonderful win rate. Our friend AZ Snap, who got a new job and we miss greatly, put this together. This maintains a high win rate again. So you've got your classic Shuri Red Skull stuff here with just a side of Black Knight, right? Like once in a while you go Black Knight, Lady Sif, you have a shard, then you Shuri and Shuri shard, right? And now you've got a 40 power, cannot be reduced, cannot be have its power lowered shard. And then you can Ghost Rider back your Infinite, or you can just drop a Giganto, or you can Taskmaster that shard, and then you win. It's pretty nice. Armor is also real nice for this deck. But this is super strong because you can still just do your regular Shuri Red Skull Taskmaster stuff and be perfectly happy with that. This is a discard list. This is our friend Combat Snaps. How you doing, Combat? Combat basically put this together. Black Knight is just an extra card here, right? I wanted to cut America because I believe this wanted the original America to like thin the deck. But like this America is just fine at like being a card that goes into Lockjaw. Gives the next card brought out a little power boost. That's pretty damn good. Jubilee is nice. You don't really want to chuck your Hella. Hella's a win condition, but not the only one, right? Because this is like not discarding a ton of cards outside of, I guess, Gambit's totally random discard. Lady Sif is very likely to chuck Death. Be careful with it. Don't just do it. Blade you can target with, right? So like outside of Gambit, you've got a really good chance of making sure you're discarding what you want. That's not Hella, and like if that's the case, then you should be able to pull a bunch of cards back at the end of the game and win. Pretty nice, right? I'm a fan. Right, this is W's deck. W is a genius deck builder. This is a nice simple version. It basically says, okay, so what if I just had a She-Hulk package instead? Right, like, all right, so if I'm missing my early draws with this, I'll just drop like a She-Hulk on 4. Or I can just play Magic, pass 6, drop She-Hulk and Infinite, and win the game that way. Have a nice big sunspot, so on and so forth. That extra way to win along with the Black Knight package is really strong. Please note, Ms. Marvel, maybe the best card in the game, is in a lot of these decks. Sorry, she's one of the best cards in the game, and she's generically insanely powerful. Her next Spotlight card is even better than Black Knight. This is one of the best cards in the game. I know both W and Den would say that this is the best card in the game. It is almost certainly the most versatile. It's the card that goes with the most decks. There are very few places that just don't want Iron Lad. I guess if you're running like Kitty Pryde, you don't want Iron Lad. And if you're running Goblins, you don't want Iron Lad. But basically everywhere else, you kind of want Iron Lad. He is freaking phenomenal. 4/6, Series 5, 6,000 tokens. On reveal, copy the text of your deck's top card. Assuming you're putting good cards in your deck, Iron Lad is great to play. Nice and simple, right? Let's look at a bunch of Iron Lad decks because Iron Lad is completely busted and absolutely phenomenal. Again, I think it's very hard to have the top 5 cards in Marvel Snap and not have Iron Lad in there. All right, so this is our friend Lauren Woodev's Airlock. This deck has carried her, I want to say, like at this point, 20,000 ranks. It's just unreal. Iron Lad is literally here just because it's a consistency piece. Like, I'm not going to talk about how to play that whole deck. Check Friday's video because I talked all about it. And Friday's video was my lead deck then. But, like, okay. So, Iron Lad hits Nebula. Well, I guess they better play, right? Iron Lad hits Howard. Not ideal. That's a bad hit. You play it mid, it hits Medusa. Okay, you have a 4/9. It hits Jeff, you have a 4/6 that can move. It hits Mr. Fantastic, you have a 4/10. It hits Storm, you've just locked down a lane. It hits Ms. Marvel, you've got a 4/16. It hits Gamora, assuming you played it well. You've got a 4+5, 4/11. Hits Arrow, you move a thing. Hits Alioth, it kills a thing. Hits Doom, you've got, again, a 4/16. Like, that card is nuts, right? Like, that's just phenomenal in this deck. Next up, we have W's Locked On. I covered this in Sunday's video if you want to check it out. W is, again, a freaking genius deck builder. This version, again, like looking at the hits. Echo, if you've got priority and you play it mid, there Ms. Marvel is had. You can get Cosmo, ruin their life. You can Mystique is the only real bad hit here. Iron Man is game winning. Professor X is game winning. Onslaught is game winning. Ravonna lets you change the entire pattern of your last couple turns of the game. You don't always want to hit Mystique, although there's times hitting Mystique is phenomenal. Excuse me. A second Ravonna with this deck is incredible, right? If you had a Professor X and then you dropped an Iron Lad, and now you've locked up 2 lanes, you could just win the game. This card is silly. Yesterday's deck of the day. This one must be played to be believed. Winnie has this ridiculously intelligent theory about how lockdown is the aggro, pure lockdown is the aggro of Marvel Snap, and going partially in on lockdown lets you play a mid-range game, which I think is just brilliant and super cool for the evolution of the game. So, um, this one runs Havoc. Again, like you hit Havoc, you're like, oh no, I'm sad. Wait, everything in my deck costs 4 any damn way if I have Ravona. And even then, like Professor X, right? So if you hit Havoc, this is a 416, 414. Nope, 418, excuse me. Korg junks their deck up, Shadow King lowers their stuff, Zabu and Ravona change your game. Rock Slide's amazing, Darkhawk's amazing, Ms. Marvel's amazing, Professor X is game winning. Like Iron Lad is nuts in these decks. Make sure you check yesterday's video, by the way. Um, Owie is the best Ronin player in the world, period, bar none. French player, phenomenal. Again, Iron Lad as an extra way to hit Ronin alive on top of the other stuff is great. Iron Lad to give them extra cards with Mordor Maximus seems bad, right? Except it's a Ronin deck, so obviously not. Again, Mystique is the only mediocre hit, but if you're playing Lad and you know Mystique is one of the last 2 or 3 cards in your deck, try and make sure that, like, plan your turns. Make sure you played Ms. Marvel first if possible, right? This deck is very, very good. You should absolutely try it. Thanos Control. Oh, I guess we've got some bricks here. We've got the Power Stone, which we don't like, and we got Thanos, which we don't like, right? Basically, everything else is really good. You're even happy with the turn 4 Okoye if it's got 6 power. Psylocke means on turn 4, you can now play a 6 next turn. Blob, you're like, oh no, well, you've got a stupidly huge Iron Lad, and then because you're Thanos, you have so much draw, you've got so much else left in the deck. Shang-Chi, just again, if you know Shang is in deck and likely to play it in the right spot. Blue Marvel, a 4/6 Blue Marvel is OP. There's just a lot to like about this Thanos control list that's got a super high win rate running Iron Lad. I believe this is the last one. This is my most successful deck. This is Ika's deck. Den built this, like, I copied Den's version, but it's Ika's deck, so you need to check out Ika if you can on one of the Pursuit of Gaming people. Just a brilliant, brilliant deck builder. It was just like, okay, so if you don't want me to play Darkhawk because of Blob, I'll just run Leech. And it works great, right? Like, it's just a silly, silly, powerful deck. Iron Lad, again, has a bajillion powerful hits here, right? Leech on Lad is just game winning. They just run. Like, they're just like, oh, well, I lose. You just played a 4/6 Leech, and now you can do whatever you want turn 5. Zabu is incredible here. Like, everything is great. There's just no downsides to this card. Iron Lad is all upside in so many decks. Finally, we're going to look at Hell Enjoyer's Tribunal. This is, I want to say, a deck I covered on Friday. May have been Thursday. I covered it either last Friday or last Thursday. This is one of the top 10 decks in Marvel Snap right now. KM covered it after I did. It's silly strong. Like, absolutely silly strong. This is an update fundamentally to a deck Safety was playing. Safety was running a few more fun cards like Howard. Well, this is like all in on kicking butt. It can do the Iron Man Onslaught Tribunal thing for a bajillion power. It could also do like Ms. Marvel, Mystique, Onslaught for a bajillion power on each lane. Like, there's just a lot to like about this deck. It's strong on, like, only Enchantress stops it, although occasionally like blowing up a magic will stop it. And Iron Lad has, again, outside of the occasional Mystique, nothing but amazing hits here. This is just a straight up winner. You should be playing these decks. They're phenomenal. All good? We understand how good Iron Lad is, I hope. Get Iron Lad if you have the keys. There is no card, I believe, in all of Marvel Snap that is going to be more useful to you than Iron Lad. All right, since Selene is the definition of wait and see card, I said that last week. Havoc ended up being really good, but Havoc is also half the cost of this, and they gave us 400 tokens back. So hooray to that! Yay for like the power of Selene. Yay for waiting and seeing on Selene. Excuse me. I don't think she's going to be good. I was pretty sure Havoc was going to be better. I was like the high man on Havoc. I think time has proved me correct, even if not on the exact builds. I think Selene is going to be the worst card this month. However, Iron Lad is one of the most important cards in the game, and maybe the most important. Black Knight is great and opens up decks all by himself. If you need Black Knight and or Lad, open. Selene is just a bonus. If you just need her, wait until Friday. Watch the video Friday, and we'll take a look. Cool. All right, so Selene, meh. Lad, oh my god, yes. Black Knight, definitely a yes. Cool. Hit that sub button, ring that bell. We'll be back tomorrow with our big giveaway. And I'd like to thank our patrons. If you'd like to become one, please check the description to this video. Models Pretty Chill, Fothor Newman, Matt Rowland, Derek Williams, NoFlex, and Mandatory Burnout. Thank you all so much for your support. Thanks for watching this video. We'll see you tomorrow for another Snap Take, again, with our giveaway. Peace.